Hailing from the Bigstone Cree Nation, today we have Gilly Alook. He has left the daily grind of the 9 to 5 and has now stepped into the path of being a Sundancer, a pike carrier, and a traditional elder, sharing teachings of the Indigenous culture to experience what it's like to be in ceremony and to live in sacredness and reverence for our Mother Earth and all that we've been given by her. We are currently in the North Okanagan, a very special episode where we're actually in person today, living now in the North Okanagan of British Columbia. Welcome, Gilly. It's so wonderful to have you here.
Thank you for the invite. It's nice to be here. Just to let you know, this is my first personal kind of interview, I guess you'd say. So it's a little intimidating, to say the least. But I shall do my best in answering and kind of staying within the topic of what we're here for.
Absolutely. And we're here for the topic to learn about identity, actually. Stepping out of that role, being retired from that 9 to 5 grind, and then really stepping along the path in our calling and what that means. And in Indigenous culture, there's actually something called a spirit name. And Gilly, you've become known as Spotted Wolf. So, and I see there's wolves even on your shirt. So I'd love to hear a little bit about how you got that name and how you've come to embody spotted wolf.
Oh, wow. It's try to make a long story shorter. Basically, the name came in 2001, October 2001. I was in a treatment center for alcohol and drugs, Round Lake, and there was an elder that was coming by that was doing a ceremony for us in the center, and it was called an Iwipi ceremony. But that's as far as I'll go with that. As far as there's too much to mention in something like that. So, and an elder by name of Melvin Gray Bears from the Lakota territory, South Dakota. He was a kind of a traveling medicine man and came over, and I wanted a name, and I let my counselor know I wanted a name, and in return I had to do 500 tobacco ties. They're these little tiny little tobacco ties. I had to do 101 of each color, the red, the white, the black, the yellow, right? And it was it was very long, put it that way. 500 ties is a lot, one at a time on one string.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, make a long story short, I got my spirit name at that time, Spotted Wolf. And I came out of treatment and didn't follow through with my abstinence. So needless to say, I didn't use my name. I put it on a shelf and left it there until I was, until I decided to quit drinking and quit the drugs and that. So it was quite some time before that happened, but since then I did quit, and I quit in 2007, quit alcohol, drugs, everything, all mood altering drugs. 2007, and it was September 30th, 2007, I quit everything. And since then I've picked up the name, picked it back up because I'm again now sober and clean, and I have a very long story to make it short. This shirt was gifted to me. I went to work in Fort McMurray as a counselor, and then I left for a year and I went back. And when I went back, I created my own position as an elder's kind of in-house elder. So slash lodge keeper and so forth. So there's, like I said, it's a long story, and maybe we'll just get to what the questions that you have so that we can shorten up.
Taking on new identity, essentially embodying the sacred path of an elder, and then a pipe carrier and a sundancer and a red blanket man. And these are all terms you may or may not be familiar with,
Yeah,
but
that's
it's all an honor to walk that path and essentially be the one to educate and mentor and connect people through ceremony to their healing path.
right.
And so, what do you think is the biggest sort of takeaway that you've had leaning into these new roles?
Well, it's a big, that's when you mention all these different things, it's like, wow, I did all that. I've got all that. It's an honor, to even acknowledge that I carry all these different things within my heart, within my walk, within what we call the red road, right? It wasn't gifted to me. It was people that knew me, that know me, and that's how it was. Like the sacred pipe was presented to me. Um, this is actually a community pipe. I also have a personal pipe, which is a sacred pipe, and that was gifted to me by one of my sisters out in Edmonton who drove all into the Okanagan. I was living in Kelowna at the time. She drove to the Okanagan at Christmas time, December 18th. I remember that vividly. And she drove to come and present me with a pipe. She said she had dreams. She said, I was just tired of dreaming about you and all this, so I figured I'll just come and present it to you, the pipe. So that was again December the 18th. I wrote it down. I'm not sure what year it was, but it goes back a few years. So that was kind of the beginning. The sacred pipe is something that you earn it, and yet you don't need to necessarily accept it neither. If I felt I was not ready for it, then I wouldn't have accepted it, because there's a way that is given to you. And the fourth time that it's gone to you like that, either you accept it or you don't accept it. In my case, I accepted it, and at that time, my life has changed, because when you accept the sacred pipe, you are accepting the responsibilities of all community members. In other words, you accept, and anytime you're called upon, you have to make the time, because that's what this is all about. It's the sacredness, but it's also the responsibility of being a pipe carrier, is that you have to be, no matter what the case may be. It could be anything and everything. It could be somebody that's just, I got a phone call this morning actually from my sister that gifted me the pipe. She called because she recently moved and going through some chaos. So she just wanted to fill me in on it, and again, all I do at this time is just take it in, listen, and if there's something that needs to be done, then I will call her back, or and see what I'm able to do. At this time, she wasn't asking for anything. She was just wanting to have a listening ear. And so that's kind of where, where the pipe and me and her are, right? So that's the sacred pipe. And through the journey, of being, an elder, again, it's not something that I personally gave myself that that role as an elder. It's the community that sees you as an elder. They're the ones that are naming you. For me, it's not me naming myself, because that's just not the way it works, right? So again, you mentioned Sundancer and Red Blanket Man and that. Well, my other sister, my mentor, Edna, is the one that that got me involved in the sun dancing. I was at her sweat lodge for a year. The first year that I sobered up, I was at Edna Sweat Lodge every Thursday night at 7 p.m. is when we go into the lodge. Mm. And every Thursday, I would run home, make my bannock, and take a load of bannock with me and go out the door and be at her sweat faithfully every Thursday for a whole year. And she's seen the commitment that I had in me. And she's the one that says you're dancing next year. And I kind of just, okay. You know, I didn't even have a moccasin or anything like that. It was just, it just happened so fast. And because she was dancing for the last 25 years, if she wanted me to dance, she just let the red blanket men and the chief know that I'm going to be dancing without going through the, usually it's 4 or 5 years before you can dance, because you have to be a helper, you have to be a scapio, they call them a scapio. That's somebody who tends to the fire, somebody who tends to the teepee, somebody who attends to anything to do with helping. You're called a noscapio, and in the Cree language, a noscapio means a young man helper. Mm. That's kind of where the term comes from. Now they shorten it to scapio so that everybody could understand and everybody could say it, right? So that's kind of, you know, as far as the sun dancing went, that I did start dancing the following year. It's been now 14 years, I think, going on 15 next this coming August. So I danced for 12 years, and before my end of my 12th year, I was presented with a red blanket, which I should have brought with me. It's downstairs. Upstairs in my bedroom. But I have a red blanket, and that basically is saying that I'm now considered as a mentor to all the sun dancers that are coming through. So these sun dancers could be asking me particular questions as to something that they don't know or whatever that's related to the sun dance. So I'm kind of there now as a helper to all the sun dancers and to the chief. Every time we have any sort of, we're going to have the sun dance in August, so they're already starting to pledge, and it happens mostly in Vancouver. We pledge out here, but it's rare because there's not many of us sun dancers in this part of the territory. They're all mostly in Vancouver area. So when there's a pledge happening, I'm part of that. And a pledge is another thing that's done for all sun dancers who are dancing this coming year. They pledge what they're pledging for. What is it that you're pledging for? What are you dancing for? So when you dance, when you're a sun dancer, when you dance for they say 4 days, but it's actually 3 full days and into the 4th day. And when you're dancing, you don't have any water, you don't have any food, and you sleep in an area that's considered as if you were in the spirit world with the rest of your ancestors. So you don't have no food, no water, and you're dancing from sunrise, which is like 5:30, 6 in the morning. You're up there getting ready to dance, and then you go and start dancing, and you dance right through until it's already the sun has come down, and we're dancing all day, and we get pierced, which is a whole different way of sacrificing. Just a way that we can't give anything to our creator but a part of ourselves. And that's kind of where that's at, right? We give a part of ourselves by pledging. When we pledge to dance the 4 days. We pledge to, maybe pledge to bring food. Maybe we pledge to bring money for, donations, because it's a lot of work, a lot of work. There's a lot of work even within my sweat lodge here at home, right? There's a lot of work that's not only me, it also involves the helpers that I have that are close by that are able to assist in that area. So it's a lot of work with whatever we do. And I don't like using that term, and it always comes up. I don't like using the word work because it is not really, it's not work. It's actually service. You're given service for the pipe that you accepted. That day when you accepted that pipe, you no longer belong to yourself. You belong to the people. And the people means each and every person that walks through that door at the Sundance, at the sweat lodge, at a pipe ceremony, at a drumming circle, anywhere you are. You need to be always alert that you are there to assist as a helper, as a service person, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
these are some of the things that the red road, the red road um, has been very gentle with me, and I'm grateful for that. There's been a lot of challenges, but they're not, they're not. I don't look at them in that way. I just look at what am I going to be learning today.
There's a
What
lot of in these ceremonies, there's a lot of contribution, connection, and commitment, and also the sacrifice that you mentioned, sacrificing your old ways, of being. And in the word sacrifice, what it actually meant previously, before, it became something bad, was that it was about making sacred and having that connection. And so these sacrifices that you've made is making your life sacred, is making your sacred responsibility to show up as an elder, as a red blanket man, as a pipe carrier, and so on, as a lodge keeper, you mentioned too, to make sacred this calling, this contribution that you're making to humanity and your community and to your culture, to uphold that and to transform also from the inside out and create and use your natural gifts to create the change and transformation in the world as a collective so that we can live in harmony with nature, with each other. But it took some time, like you said, and you had your spirit name and then you went back to your old ways, with the alcohol and the drugs and what that meant. And then what was it, Gilly, that changed for you? What actually made you say, okay, enough of that, I'm committing to this path now?
a very very good question. Um, yet it's so true. You know, um, coming back, coming back from and being back in recovery. I look back, and that's looking back now 17 years ago that that commitment that I made to the Creator, has continued. I've been faithfully clean and sober for 17 years, and to me, that was the best deal that I ever made to the Creator,
Hmm.
right? Today, I rely always on the Creator. I rely on my ancestors. It just all comes to place. And then I have a beautiful, beautiful wife, and we walk together. We do things together. We're in ceremony together, right? Um, and it's something that in my wildest dreams would I ever think of ever being where I am in the kind of leadership role that I guess that just kind of comes with the territory. Um, and it's something that I'm learning every day, and it is always about family, and it's all about culture. That there is no difference in you're always there, right? And family meaning everybody like yourself, like my partner, like the community at large, right? They come to the sweat lodge, we have all kinds of, let's say, followers, in, you know, in they come to the lodge and they come for a reason. They come for a purpose. Why am I here?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the time we'll talk to them and say, what did you get out of it?
Mm-hmm.
Like some feedback, honest feedback, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where when we just become a lodge keeper, right? In other words, we run the lodge out of our home, and we always have a big potluck feast at the end. So we have anywhere from 10 to 30 people that show up here every biweekly, every second Sunday. And it is, I call it the community lodge, and that's exactly what it is. It does not belong to me, it belongs to the people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where family comes in again, right?
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's just the way it is, and sometimes we have volunteers, which is nice. It's hard for me to ask people to do things. I mean, but sometimes I do, and
Mm-hmm.
and there's always a good response. People do help, right? And again, my wife Diana and I, right? We work that lodge together.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do 2 rounds. In other words, I'll do, I don't know, 2 doors. I don't know how else to explain it. 2 intervals, whatever. Like I do two, she does two, right? It's really nice when we have, to me, when you have both the male and a female energy, it balances.
Mm-hmm.
It balances, and it's so nice when we can do that. And it's every second week, and all you do, I say, all you do, what you bring with you, is an open mind and a warm heart.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and those are
Beautiful.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just the way that my life is giving back what has freely been given to me,
Mm-hmm.
and that's again today. It's all about the 7 teachings, right? Respect, love, humility, uh, um, what else?
Wisdom,
Yeah,
courage,
wisdom, courage.
truth,
Yes,
honesty.
all of
Yeah.
those
Mm-hmm.
7 teachings, without even thinking about it, it's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way that the way that I walk, and just being genuine in anything and everything that I do, right?
And in ceremony, it sounds very intentional as well. And I think it's wonderful to accept the help. Like you say, sometimes it's hard to ask for it, but allowing for that help really supports the collective healing, the collective transformation, and building on that community because then we're all in it together, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
not one person having to do everything, take control or have any authority over the situation, but to actually bring it all in together and very intentional as well and a mindful way of living now. And you mentioned about the 7 teachings, and I know love is one of them. And I remember because I've been around you for a while now, and Gilly has this shirt that says "Love is my new normal," and on the back it says "Choose love." And it sounds to me, Gilly, that that's really what you've done. You've chosen love. You've chosen self-love. You've chosen love for your culture, your community, feeling honored about being given this pipe and being able to be a lodge keeper and the red blanket man and all of the ways that you identify now with your contribution for the people. And so I love that. I love that you are choosing love.
Mm.
And I wonder if there's anything that you'd like to share about self love, because I know that's a big topic for you too.
It's huge. It's my everyday promotion. Anywhere I can go ahead and I could just basically say choose love, like to self love especially.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to love yourself is so important, because without love you can't you can't advance, because you're full of judgment, you're full of anger, you're full of resentment, you're full of all the stuff,
Mm.
you know, until you come to a place such as a sweat lodge. Promotion, right? Until
Yeah.
you come to such a place as a sweat lodge, where you are there for self.
Mm.
where you are there to be able to let go of some of these, some of these things that are within us, like judgments and resentments and anger and all these things that and you don't know what to do with it all. I mean, this is only one way, of course, but I find it being um, personally for me, it's one way in that sense that it's helped me for 17 years. 17 years I've been sweating, right?
Mm.
And it's something that is dear to my heart and something that I know works.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm a testament to you know to it all. And again, like I said, yeah, it is promotion because it's it helps. I know all our Sundancers and Red Blanket Man and all the people that come to follow and all these.
Mm-hmm.
They're all a part of this big circle, right?
Yeah.
Like anything else, it's just becomes to be a family. And I mean, you mentioned you've been a big part of a big part of it. So yeah, I don't know if it's safe to say that you've been a blessing to us as far as being in our home and learning and getting taught or whatever, and just your contribution. Your contribution of what you do every time we have our sweat lodge ceremony.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
You're in the kitchen and you're doing things and you're preparing everything. You're setting up the tables. You make things so inviting in so many ways, and just the way that you interact. You're one of the family,
Mm, thank you.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that, again, that's what we're all about, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and your presence, it's certainly going to be missed by both Diana and I, right? You know, so anyway.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and this was a beautiful opportunity to be able to share more widely these teachings that I've been learning and having a deeper immersion in over the past several months here, living with Gilly and his partner Diana, White Eagle Woman, and Spotted Wolf, which is come
Mm,
back as a name. And I even have a spirit name, Loving Wolf Star. Some of you may or may not know that. And so, yeah, we're part of the pack, aren't we? The wolf pack. And,
yes.
as teachers and way showers and fierce protectors of community, of family, of upholding that value of love and supporting humanity in the collective in that way. And so it sounds to me there's a lot of healing that came through rediscovering yourself through your culture, your cultural teachings, and I think even just coming back to our roots, right? Whatever that might be for you, for those who are tuning in right now, coming back to your roots, your lineage, what's your identity in that? What are the gifts that are given to you to pass on through your lineage? To consider that, and maybe you'd like to even share that in the comments because it would be such a beautiful way to reclaim that and to use your natural gifts to also help transform and heal so that we can all, co-create global harmony. I mean, I still hold up that dream, an idealistic view of the world, but I can see it, I can feel it, and I know it's available to us once we let go of all of the things, like you say, that don't actually serve us, that divide us, or that make us move away from our roots. And so I really appreciate you, Gilly, for taking the time today to share in all of that. And for those that are listening, Gilly actually has a TikTok channel, Gilly Alook. You'll find him on TikTok. Of course, we'll have the link in the video description as well. And you'll find continuous Indigenous teachings there, little bite sized pieces to learn more about the culture. Because while it's, First Nations culture, Indigenous culture, I think it really applies universally. And like you said about the seven grandfather teachings, those values and living those values, I think contributes to global harmony. So check that out too. Gilly, I wonder if there's anything else that you'd like to share with us today.
Um, no, I think it's not bad for my first kick at the can. as they say,
Right.
right in our, again, it's something that I'm not used to, but certainly it's something that I do appreciate, you considering, our interview, right?
Mhm.
And again, it is all about teaching. It is all about it's all about love. It is all about just being who we are, right?
Mhm.
To be genuine and to treat everybody with that respect that we all deserve, no matter
Yeah.
who you are, right?
Mhm.
No matter where you come from, no matter it doesn't that should not have any bearing on the way that we treat people, and that's I believe when we can all see from our hearts and we can all talk from our hearts, then we're making progress, you
Absolutely.
know. And in my Cree language, when we say keep trying, don't give up, it's kami mo, kai pu mi. Again, kami mo, kai pu mi. And that means keep trying, don't give up. And that goes for any one of us, right? In whatever walk we're on, is to again, believing in our creator and believing in our ancestors. There's a lot of power. That's my sponsors. That's who sponsors me.
Mm.
When I'm going through a tough, hard time,
Mhm.
is I call upon my creator and I call upon my ancestors. And in that, I just say, Nikihchimanitum, or I say, Kakio no wako maganak kutagaski gayaik. In other words, I say, Kakihchimanitu is his creator, my creator. Nikihchimanitum is my creator. And all my relatives who are on that other land in plain Cree, right? So thank you.
Thank
And
you.
a
Thank
beautiful,
you.
beautiful, beautiful interview.
Mhm.
Aho.
Aho. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you again next time on
Uh,
Awaken and Ascend.